Having spent multiple hours over the weekend knee deep in the open world of the Lands Between, one thing is very apparent with From Software's upcoming outing. Elden Ring feels like a culmination of everything that director Hidetaka Miyazaki has created since Demon's Souls first crept onto the PlayStation 3 and into players' minds back in 2009. From Demon's Souls to Dark Souls to Bloodborne and then Sekiro, Elden Ring is woven from the DNA of all of From Software's ever-evolving action RPGs. The challenging sword and shield combat that Demon's Souls pioneered and Dark Souls then perfected is present and accounted for, but it's bolstered by more interesting spells and techniques that are far more inviting to use than in those games. Bloodborne's faster pace and beastly enemies make the transition into Elden Ring as well, and the addition of both a jump and a crouch button for improved manoeuvrability and actual stealth options are pulled right out of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. There's a little bit of everything that From Software has become so well known for here, but at its core, Elden Ring still feels closest to the Dark Souls series, with its stony-faced dragons and proud knights clad in golden armour seeping their way into this upcoming release. If you've played any Dark Souls game recently, you'll find familiar motifs and mechanics hiding behind new names in Elden Ring. Incantations replace miracles but perform a similar role, acting as spells powered by faith, while weapon arts have been replaced by Ashes of War and can now be switched between weapons rather than tied to a single one. This familiarity can lead to a creeping suspicion, especially if you've only been watching the trailers, that Elden Ring could be Dark Souls 4 by any other name, but that notion is soon put to rest as soon as you begin exploring the vast open world that Elden Ring offers up. Previous From Software games revelled in tightly designed dungeons linked together in an interconnected world, allowing the developer to perfectly place enemies to challenge you, frustrate you, or simply to make sure you're paying attention. While there was room for some exploration, you'd rarely be able to venture off the critical path for too long before having to circle back. In Elden Ring, however, you're free to explore in any direction you'd like right from the start. Pushing open the doors of that starting cave for the first time and stepping into the lush green world invokes similar feelings to leaving Vault 101 in Fallout 3, or stepping out from the Shrine of Resurrection in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This freedom of choice doesn't just apply to which direction you go, of course, but also how you tackle each and every situation you come across along the way. Shortly after finding your first Site of Grace, which are basically bonfires or lamps, yet more familiar mechanics with a new name, you're directed directly into the path of the Tree Sentinel, a gleaming knight astride an equally armoured horse who, for most players in the network test, will have served as the very first boss of the game. Even for experienced Dark Souls players, this fight is a tough one, a real early test of your mettle. You can die and fight and die again, and then, if you choose, you can just walk away. No longer confined to a boss arena, you can simply take a nice wide left, skirt around the boss, and make your way to the next Site of Grace. The same is true for most roaming enemies in the game, and while you want to take them on in order to obtain currency and items, it's not essential. Where previous From Software games asked you to either fight enemies or sprint past them, Elden Ring lets you set the pace that you want. This isn't just Dark Souls pasted over a more Western-style open world, however, and there are some surprisingly clever new additions that help meld that rock-hard combat with a sense of exploration. Taking on a group of enemies, whether in an encampment or as part of a roaming caravan, could easily be discouraged, especially if you're low on healing items. But Elden Ring rewards players for taking out a full group by refilling a player's HP restoring flasks, ready for the next encounter. Similarly, you can now survive much longer drops in Elden Ring without taking as much fall damage as you would have done in Bloodborne or Demon's Souls. See something down a cliff you want to pick up? Now you're not dissuaded from risking the fall to grab the loot. Well, most of the time anyway. It just gives you more reason to explore. And then there's your horse. Well, sort of a horse, more like a horse-goat hybrid thing, maybe? Whatever creature it is, your spirit steed is an essential addition when travelling fast distances in Elden Ring, and perhaps one of the best mounts in games. Its double jump is perfect for climbing steep ruins or cliffs, and you can still take on foes from horseback or goatback, firing off magical spells or running an unlucky soldier through with your spear. It's yet another option in a game full of options. And for those looking for something closer to the classic Dark Souls style experience, you can find that here too, within the game's more linear dungeons and closed room boss fights that are dotted around the world. Elden Ring feels like a culmination of every innovation and addition that Miyazaki has made since Demon's Souls, from Dark Souls to Bloodborne to Dark Souls 3 and through to Sekiro, with a delicious smattering of the right kind of open world goodness. From what we've played, Elden Ring takes everything we love about the games that have come before and turns them into something that has the potential to be much greater than the sum of its parts.